Hello, welcome to the Massey Ferguson HD Series 2600 Competitive Comparison DVD. Thank you for your interest in a new Massey Ferguson HD Series tractor, our newest hardworking utility tractor. The new HD Series combines the proud Massey Ferguson heritage with a modern look and feel to provide you with a rugged and reliable tractor that'll work just as hard as you do. With 4 new models to choose from, ranging from 62 to 83 PTO horsepower, the HD Series has the ability to meet the demands of any small or mid-size farmer. Depending upon your application, you can choose from 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, cab or platform models, as well as various transmission options to suit your needs. From the drawbar to the grille, the HD Series offers heavy-duty construction and reliable components, which have been synonymous with the Massey Ferguson name for decades. Just how heavy-duty is the Massey Ferguson HD 2600 series? Well, we'll show you. The current utility market has a number of tractors to choose from. The major players in the market are Kubota with a M9540 at 84 PTO horsepower, New Holland with a TD5050 at 80 PTO horsepower, John Deere with a 5093E Limited at 75 PTO horsepower, and of course, Massey Ferguson with our 2670 HD at 77 PTO horsepower. We'll take a look at each machine and show you how the HD Series has earned its heavy-duty reputation. There are many aspects to a tractor that contribute to its performance, but there's one aspect that determines how much engine power is transferred to the ground, and that is tractor weight. When the Kubota M Series drives across the scale, it weighs in at 8,440 pounds. Next, the John Deere 5E Limited registers a total of 9,220 pounds. As the New Holland TD5050 rolls over the scale, it reads 10,960 pounds. The Massey Ferguson 2670 HD climbs on the scale and trumps the competition, weighing in at 11,040 pounds. The heavy-duty chassis, axles, and rear end contribute to the impressive weight of the HD Series. To prove that tractor weight is a key factor to performance, we conducted a tractor and loader stability test. Identical high-horsepower wheel weights were placed into each loader bucket and raised to an identical height. Watch as the lighter Kubota tractor struggles to get traction. There's simply not enough weight on the rear end to get the power to the ground. The John Deere experiences a great deal of difficulty. The 5E Limited fails to move and remains stationary with its tires spinning. It might be difficult to transport bales when you can't move the tractor. The New Holland did not experience the same level of difficulty as the Kubota and John Deere. Remember, the TD5050 finished second on the scale test behind the 2670 HD. The heavy 2670 HD has no problem at all moving all this weight in the loader bucket. Due to the front to rear weight ratio, the heavy HD Series will get more work done in a shorter amount of time than the competition. Let's change gears now and focus on each tractor from front to back. Although it may be difficult to quantify, the construction and the components of a tractor are a major factor in determining how the tractor will perform and how long it will last. Take a look as we compare and contrast major components of each machine, and when we're finished, you'll understand why the HD Series is called heavy duty. Let's start with the hood. When it comes time to service the tractor, a hood that's easy to raise and lower is very helpful. Watch as we attempt to open the hood on the Kubota. The grill guard interferes with the hood and must be folded down in order to gain access to the engine compartment. The John Deere uses a thin side-mounted latch. Notice how unstable the plastic hood is. The New Holland has a sliding latch mounted in the center of the grill, which can be difficult to access when a loader is installed. Now notice the large, easy-to-access hood latch on the HD Series. Once the latch is released, 2 gas-assisted struts take over and raise the one-piece hood. Located on the front of each hood is a screen. A larger hood screen will allow more clean air to enter the engine for better performance. Along with the hood screen, the amount of air that can enter the engine is important. Notice that the Kubota has a large screen, but there's little room under the hood for air to enter. The same is true for John Deere and New Holland. Each have large hood screens, but there's no room for large amounts of air. Notice on the Massey Ferguson that the 3 large engine screens allow cool air to enter. Also notice how much room there is from the radiator to the front of the hood. This large volume area allows for more cubic inches of air to enter the engine to ensure maximum performance. In order to protect the hood from damage, a grill guard is necessary. Notice how the grill guard on the HD series features two large crossbars that protect the front of the hood. The New Holland grill guard lacks the crossbars and only offers two vertical pieces of steel for protection. The John Deere loader does not come standard with a grill guard and offers no protection. The Kubota has a large grill guard, but it must be lowered in order to open the hood. Another important area on the front of the tractor is the weight frame. The 2670 HD features a front weight bracket and tow hole as standard equipment. Notice how the competition does not include a weight bracket or tow holes. A tractor's hood lights make working at night an easy and enjoyable task. The positioning and design of the lights determine how easy and enjoyable it actually is. The Massey Ferguson HD series hood follows the family look of other Massey Ferguson tractors. The four headlights illuminate the night and are mounted high on the hood in order to provide light over a loader bucket. Each competitive model provides only two lights, which are mounted lower on the hood. Let's move on to the front axle of each machine. We'll start with the Kubota M9540. Notice the light-duty construction of the front axle and the small center pivot section, which will limit the front axle oscillation. The steering cylinder and tie rods are mounted in front of the axle, where they're susceptible to damage. Notice how the Kubota uses a light-duty bevel gear reduction system, which lacks the tooth contact and the high torque load capacity of a planetary gear reduction system. The John Deere front axle features a good-sized center pivot section but has a slim profile on the front axle housing. The axle uses a planetary reduction system but has exposed CV joints, which allows dirt and debris to enter, causing damage. The steering cylinder is mounted behind the front axle but uses lightweight steering and cylinder rods. The New Holland front axle has a small center pivot section which limits axle oscillation, but it does feature a thick axle housing. The TD5050 has covered CV joints which lead to the outboard planetaries. A major disadvantage to the New Holland is the steering system, which utilizes two individual steering cylinders and very light-duty steering cylinder rods. Now notice the heavy-duty front axle of the HD series. Its large center pivot section and thick front axle housing allow for high degrees of oscillation and a large weight load capacity. The CV joints are concealed to protect the universal joint from debris. The front axle utilizes an outboard planetary gear reduction system, which provides constant gear tooth contact and can withstand higher torque loads. The heavy-duty steering system is mounted behind the front axle and features large cylinder and steering rods, which provides strong steering force even in the roughest conditions. Now we'll move to the rear of the tractor. The rear end of a tractor experiences the most stress because it does all the pulling. The components, construction, and overall thickness of the rear end will determine how hard you can pull and how long the tractor will last. The heavy-duty rear end of the Massey Ferguson HD2600 series is a major feature that separates itself from the competition. Take a look. Let's start with the methods of gear reduction. Notice how the Kubota and John Deere utilize an inboard planetary system. With an inboard planetary system, the reduction occurs at the differential and transmits high levels of stressful torque load through the axle. Surprisingly, the New Holland TD5050 uses a bull gear reduction design, which is more commonly seen on compact tractors. A bull gear reduction system has limited gear tooth contact and cannot handle the high torque loads that are experienced at the rear end of hard-working utility tractors. Notice that the HD series uses large outboard planetaries for gear reduction. This system does not transfer high torque loads through the axle halves. Instead, it happens at the wheel. The constant gear tooth contact of a planetary system ensures that the HD series can handle high-stress torque loads. The positioning of the link arm attachment to the rear end is crucial to the performance of three-point hitch-mounted implements. The optimal position would be a link arm mounted underneath and in front of the rear axle. Notice how the HD series is exactly that, along with a heavy-duty cast piece that's welded to the rear axle and held in place with a large pin. The positioning of the link arms acts to pull the front end of the tractor down when under load from a ground-engaged three-point hitch-mounted implement, ensuring better traction from the front tires. Notice how the Kubota does not mount the link arm to the rear axle and how it's held in place with a light-duty Category 1 hitch pin. John Deere utilizes a similar attachment method as Kubota, but lacks a removable pin to hold it in place. New Holland attached the link arms well in behind the rear axle and features no easy-to-remove pin. The stabilizer arm limits the lateral movement of the three-point link arms. You want the connection point for the stabilizer arm to be as strong as possible to ensure a solid hold when high stress loads are placed on the link arms. Notice the weak construction of Kubota's stabilizer connection and how it's held in place with a small pin. John Deere uses a thin piece of metal and a small pin to connect their stabilizer. The TD5050 uses a thin piece of metal which is mounted to the bull gear housing. Now take a look at the thick steel plate secured in place by 4 large bolts on the Massey Ferguson HD2600 series. The high-quality construction and components ensure lasting performance and reliability. Now, let's take a quick look at the link arms. Additional positioning holes make it extremely easy to dial your three-point hitch implement to the exact height or depth needed. Notice that the John Deere does not have any additional positioning holes. The New Holland features 2 additional holes, while the Kubota and Massey Ferguson offer 3 additional positioning holes on the link arm. The top link assembly on the 2670 HD features heavy-duty cast components to withstand the high draft loads. The HD series also features 3 top link adjustment positions to fine-tune your implement. Turnbuckle-style link arm adjustments make easy work out of raising and lowering the link arms. The number of turnbuckle adjustments is a key factor. Notice how the M9540 features only 1 turnbuckle adjustment. To adjust the left-hand link arm, additional tools are needed. As you can see, this process is very time-consuming. Both John Deere and New Holland feature 1 turnbuckle adjustment as well. The HD series comes standard with 2 turnbuckles, which allow you to adjust both link arms with a few turns. The positioning of the drawbar connection under the tractor is a determining factor in the machine's ability to pull. The further forward on the tractor the drawbar connects, the more the tractor utilizes its own weight to pull. Notice how all the competition attaches the drawbar far behind the rear axle. On the HD series, the drawbar is actually bolted directly underneath the rear differential, so when the tractor pulls, it's pulling with all the weight of the heavy-duty rear end. To put it simply, more pulling power. When looking at the hydraulic system of all 4 tractors, it's easy to see which machine has the cleanest and highest quality hydraulic assembly. No rubber hoses or mechanical linkage arms are cluttering the back of the tractor. The hose you see here is part of the loader hydraulic system, which is plumbed directly into the Power Beyond port. You can see that the Massey Ferguson HD2600 series has neatly stacked, well-labeled valves, which connect directly to the heavy-duty quick couplers. The Kubota features a very simple hydraulic system that's not clearly labeled. The 5E Limited lacks the quality construction of the Massey Ferguson and has long, thin rubber hoses running from the valves to the cheap coupler design. The New Holland hydraulic system features a series of long mechanical links which control the valves. This exposed metal linkage clutters the back of the tractor and will cause loud vibrations. Lastly, let's take a look at the serviceability aspect of the tractors. The easier a tractor is to service, the more often you will do it, ensuring a long tractor life. The Kubota features an accessible battery, but when it comes time to check or change the engine oil, you have to maneuver your arm into a tight space between the toolbox, which is not too easy. All of the engine filters are located on the opposite side of the engine, which is the exhaust side. The exhaust side of the engine tends to get very hot after the engine has been running and makes servicing the tractor dangerous. The John Deere 5E Limited has good access to the battery as well as the oil check and fill, but just like the Kubota, you have to go to the other side of the engine to access the filters. When opening the hood of the New Holland, you will notice that the battery is not in the same accessible location as the other tractors. The battery is actually located underneath the cab behind the footsteps. As you can see, gaining access to the battery is not easy. Just like the Kubota and John Deere, there are major service points on both sides of the engine. Now notice the easy-to-access, clean assembly of the battery on the HD series. Unlike all the competition, every engine service point is located on the cool side of the 4.4-liter four-cylinder Perkins diesel engine. As you can see, the Massey Ferguson HD2600 series is the easiest to service. It's easy to see how the HD series earned its heavy-duty name. Its high-quality, heavy-duty components contribute to its industry-leading weight, pulling power, and reliability. Visit your local Massey Ferguson dealer today and see for yourself the new generation of hard-working utility tractors from Massey Ferguson.